Uh-oh, a tragedy has just occurred. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learned over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And in today's video, I thought I'd just do a really chilled kind of chatty vlog plant chore kind of video. I've just got back from a week away, and although I've done a load of watering today, I've got so many things planty wise that I've been meaning to do for such a long time. So I thought I would get the camera rolling in my pajamas at 9 o'clock at night and we could do them together. So that is the plan for this video. Let's get into it. So before I start going through the questions, I thought I would just give you a little update on the Anthurium seeds that I planted in my repotting chat. I want to say about 2 months ago now. I don't know if that's correct, but I don't know if you'll be able to see them that well in the prop box, but this one here has actually got 2 leaves coming out of it, which I am really excited about. This one just there is absolutely tiny still. It's got such a good root system on it, but it's still very small. But I'm just so happy they're doing something. However, there's one that is doing way better than the rest, and that is this one. Look at that. That one has done absolutely amazingly. I took that one out of the propagation box, I think I want to say about 3 weeks ago now, and I potted it up in sphagnum moss, and I've had it just kind of under a glass. Like, I've watered the sphagnum moss and then I put a glass over it to kind of create a little dome and like trap the heat and humidity in, and it's been doing so well. So yeah, I'm absolutely chuffed about that. I'm really tempted to pot up that one there. I'm going to take a better shot of that because I feel like you can't properly see, oh there you go, you can see it, how great it is on camera. It's just very exciting that 2 are springing from one shoot. So yeah, that is the update so far. I will absolutely keep you updated. Also, the Anthurium clarinervium that I pollinated, the inflorescence hasn't died off yet and it's kind of bulging. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that it might be doing something, that it might have taken, but I think it's still slightly too soon to tell. So again, I will keep you updated with that. But yes, that was just one update that I wanted to do. I'm going to try and continue the Anthurium seed update because it's something that I am so excited about. I don't know if anyone else is excited as me, probably not, but it's bringing me a lot of joy at the moment. So there we go. There's my news. Right, the first thing that this is like shocking, that I've been meaning to do for such a long time. My massive pothos plant here hasn't been repotted, I want to say, in about 2-3 years. It's bad. I propagated this one from cuttings, and since I've potted her up, I don't think I've ever repotted her, and she's not in, like, when I say root bound, it's not good. I also know that the roots look really brown and sludgy on camera. They're actually not that bad. They're just sat in soggy, like soily water at the moment. I don't know if you can see. But they're actually fairly healthy. They're not sludgy, but my God, she is desperate for a repot. But yeah, I thought I would repot her because I know repotting a root bound plant can be a little bit tedious, and I thought it was more fun if I did it on camera with you guys. So I'm gonna do that. That is the first thing. So I'm just gonna grab my potting mat, which is not gonna fit on the table, but I'm gonna grab my potting mat and then I'm gonna start going through some questions. Yeah, so this is 100% not gonna be able to stretch out. I'm just gonna have to do it on a very little bit and hope for the best. And also, the other thing I realized is that I'm really low on soil. I didn't really think about that before today, and I just assumed that I had absolutely loads, and I don't have that much. So I'm gonna mix up what I've got. I think in one of these bags, can't see. In one of these bags, is that one? No, it's not that one. I had some stuff that was pre-mixed from a while ago and I just didn't use. So, here we go. I'm gonna use some of that. And then everything else I'm gonna just pop in. This soil here that I mixed before, I think has got coconut coir, orchid bark, potting mix perlite. That's kind of like standard for what I tend to use for a lot of plants. So I think that's the mix. God, when perlite gets up your nose, it's not fun. So I'm not sure that's going to be enough. I might have to mix a little bit more, but I'm going to have to chop her out of this pot. There's no way that I'm able to lift her. So whilst I am doing that, I'm going to try and get through all of the questions that you asked if I can. So someone said, is it the worst time of year to attempt repotting? I mean, I think it really depends. I personally still do it throughout the winter months, but only if firstly my plants are still growing and I can see that they're kind of active and not dormant. And if I think that I can provide a good kind of stable environment that kind of almost mimics spring and summer conditions, like a lot of my plants are under grow lights, I've got them in kind of a steady higher temperature with good humidity and stuff like that. I have never personally had an issue with it, but I know a lot of people say not to do it. Again, that is just my personal preference. Like, some people fertilize over the winter months and I personally don't. Like, I think it just a lot of the time comes down to what you think works for you. The advice is probably no on the whole, but yeah, as I say, for me, I've never had an issue. Yeah, I guess, yeah, just look at kind of the environment that you can provide your plants, and if you think it's going to be good for them and they're going to be able to keep growing consistently, or like you're providing them with close enough to like their ideal conditions, even if it is winter, then I would say yes. And if you know that like some of their leaves are turning, they're like showing signs of things that they typically do in winter conditions naturally, then maybe I would say no, if that makes sense at all. I'm a little bit tired tonight, so I'm hoping that wasn't too jumbled. Biggest plant fail of 2021. Okay, is this 2021? Those of you that have watched my other chatty videos or follow me on Instagram will probably know that that is my waroqueanum. I don't know if that was last year that I got it or this year now. I'm having a complete mind blank because time is all blurred together. But my Anthurium waroqueanum that I will show you in just a second. Oh, I mean, she's pretty much a goner, to be honest. I'm absolutely gutted. I'm so sad about that. I have literally tried, God, this is awkward. I've tried absolutely everything to try and save her. I've got these, like, I was speaking to a great guy on Instagram and I got this like special solution for the roots. I've tried hydrogen peroxide. I've tried loads of different potting mediums. I've tried putting her up in loads of different things. I don't know, like, I basically, I got her from, and to be honest, I'm not just blaming the seller here, I'm not, but I got her very cheaply. She shouldn't have been this cheap, from a seller on Etsy, and I was a little bit concerned about her when I first got her. As I said in the video that I made when I first got her, I was just a little bit concerned because she was potted in, actually, this pot here that I've repotted this plant in, she was potted in this pot when she was only about that big, and the root system was like that. It was tiny and there was so much soil, and I was just thinking, oh my goodness, like that soil's holding so much moisture, and her poor little root system obviously can't absorb all of it, so it started rotting. So the first thing was root rot, and the fact that so much of the root system had kind of turned to mush meant that I had to chop a lot of it back. And then I think it just couldn't support the plant. I'll show you her. I know it's nothing to be embarrassed about. I know plant fails happen regularly and they happen to everyone, but this is currently her. She's definitely not looking her finest, let's just say that. I'm not willing to give up on her yet. That's the thing. Like, I'm not willing to give up. And I know a lot of people will probably turn around and say, throw her in the bin, Claire. She's an absolute state. But, she was my dream plant for such a long time. And I'm so sad that she's not doing great at the moment. But I don't know. I'm just praying for a miracle and just hoping that, I don't know. I think it's wishful thinking, isn't it? But we will see. I would say that's probably my biggest... Oh, I've thought of another one. I was going to say that is biggest plant fail, as in like plant just suddenly dying. And Another plant fail that I had was my jewel orchid, the one that I was absolutely obsessed with. I got in my House of Kojo order, and I spoke about in so many videos after that, and I was just so happy with. Fell off my grow light shelf downstairs and took a hard tumble, and the stem snapped in half, and I was absolutely gutted. And I was Googling like any way that I could try and save her, and people were like, why don't you propagate her? But the thing is, her nodes weren't really established yet because she was so small. And I did try. I put her in like a little bag with like soil and perlite and kept her moist, put her on my heat mat, and she didn't make it. I have got, by the way, this has not been properly set up. This is a new edition that I got off eBay, and I'm going to do a full setup like greenhouse video on it soon. But I have got, and I'll grab and show you, another jewel orchid now that I'm falling in love with more and more. At first I kind of had, there we go, isn't she gorgeous? But yeah, I had a kind of love-hate relationship with this one at first, because although it is absolutely beautiful, I just was so in love with my other one. And you know, when you've nurtured something from when it's so small and you watch it growing, and like every new leaf just feels like such an achievement, and I was just so happy, and I just couldn't believe it when that happened. So yeah, that was a very sad moment. I would say that was a definite plant fail. Trying to think of some others. Again, my Ficus lyrata, my fiddle leaf fig, as I showed you in my bedroom plant tour video, has been whacked to bits along with a few others by Yoli's tail. So they are definite failures. And again, failures on my part, because really I should just put them somewhere else. I'm just so lacking in space at the moment that it's not always possible. But yeah, I mean, like, I'm having like, I mean, I think everybody does, don't they? Like regular on and off battles with certain plants, and some that just suddenly start going downhill for no reason, and you're like, what's going on? That's just kind of standard. Like, those are the ones that I'd pick out because they just seem like the most dramatic ones. But I mean, I'd say most weeks there's things that make me go, what's going on? So yeah, I guess plant fails. I guess that's it. But again, maybe to try and make myself feel better, but I do think these things are pretty normal if you've got plants. I mean, they're living things. They've got a mind of their own. Stuff's going on that we don't know about. So yes, that is my answer to that question. Other hobbies, your other hobbies, non-plant related. I don't know why I'm finding that hard. I mean, I love the theatre, like theatre, live music. I absolutely love and adore. As I've said in other videos, I trained as an actor, and theatre has been one of my biggest passions since I was about 9, I guess. And I get to it. I actually haven't been in months. So yeah, haven't been in months, but that's partly kind of COVID and stuff like that, and the fact that I'm not living in London anymore. But yeah, that is massive passion, massive hobby. Drawing, I love drawing. Again, it's something I don't make enough time for. I really enjoy it. I've got this weird obsession with drawing eyes, and I don't know why. I've done it for years and years and years, and occasionally I will make it to the whole face, but I usually just focus on the eyes. Walking with my dog, I just love walking. Like, I walk probably, I don't know, for at least an hour, 2 hours most days, even if it's super early or super late with Yoli, just because I love getting out. I love, like, I've never been a massive gym person, to be honest, or kind of regular kind of, I don't know, for me walking doesn't feel like I'm going out exercising, I'm going to the gym or something like that. But I've never been a kind of let's get fit kind of train sort of person. But yeah, I love walking. I love going to new places. I love finding good, like, nice walks with a decent pub at the end of them, all that sort of stuff. That is definitely a hobby. What else? I can't even think now. Yeah, I'd say that's probably the main gist of them. Like, I've got loads of things that I really enjoy. Like, so one of my day jobs is editing, and I genuinely love and adore editing so much, whether it's still photography or motion picture stuff. I absolutely love it. And it's something that just never feels like work at all. So I guess I could count that as a hobby, although it's kind of a job. I don't know. I'm stuck. So I think those would be the ones that I would say off the top of my head. If I think of any more, because I feel like my brain's whizzing now, if I think of any more, I will bring them back into the video. But what pet-friendly plant would you recommend for a beginner in houseplants? Pet-friendly beginner. Pilia peperomioides is a really good one. I said that the other day and I've actually got it here. That is such a great plant. It's really easygoing, ridiculously easy to care for. It is pet friendly and I just absolutely love it. It's really easy to propagate. Yeah, that's a fab plant. I was going to say as well, I know you said one, but fishbone cactus, which is that little guy there. They are also pet friendly and they are quite susceptible to overwatering, but so long as, like, when you say beginner plants, so long as it's something fairly kind of low maintenance that you're happy to kind of go for a week or two without doing anything to it, if it doesn't need it, then yeah, then that's great. I mean, their biggest killer is kind of over-loving, over-watering, stuff like that. So I would say that's another good one. And I also just love it. I actually got that one that, oh, don't fall. Got that one fairly recently, and it's a plant that I've wanted for absolutely years, and I don't know why I've never got it. Like, I feel like, and I don't know if anybody else feels the same, but because of this kind of sudden spike and craze for rare plants, which I do understand, of course I understand it, like there's some beautiful plants out there, a lot of gorgeous kind of more common plants are just, I don't know, like not even being pushed to one side, but you just almost don't think about them in the same way. And that, like, I don't like that at all, because, like, for example, with the fishbone cactus, that's something that I'd wanted for such a long time, and despite it having been kind of on my wish list and it not being particularly expensive, I've gone out and swapped rare plant cuttings, bought rare plant cuttings, bought rare plants and stuff like that. And then yeah, I saw it the other day on Pretty Cactus Plants, I'm pretty sure it was. Yes, that is the name. They are a brilliant shop. I discovered them the other day. I got a couple of plants from them and absolutely over the moon. But I found that little one and I was just like, you know what? I was like, you've wanted this for ages and you've managed to find means of getting rare plants, so why not get yourself that one? So I did, and I love it. And yes, pet friendly, easy to care for. That was the question. Right, so I've almost got this out of the pot now. God, these roots are crazy. The one thing that I know, and I've had it before as well, quite a lot of people find with pothos plants and philodendrons as well, when they are quite root bound and you repot them, quite often afterwards they can start going downhill, and that is just because I don't know what it is about their roots. I've actually chopped through a couple here by accident, but I don't know what it is about their roots. They are so ridiculously fragile. You just have to kind of, I'm not going to completely break this one apart. I'm just going to kind of ease them apart a little bit and then hope that I can kind of get it into its new pot happily, because they can just be really sensitive to change. I think it's because also a lot of the time they're left to kind of, hang on, I'll show you, like this state where, I mean, that is beyond root bound. They're left to that point and they cope quite well like that. And any sort of change kind of just throws them and means that they can kind of go into shock quite easily and lose a lot of leaves and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, I'm gonna, I think what I'm gonna do, I've got a bowl here. I'm gonna just pop this in water and just give it a tiny little soak to just kind of let some of those roots kind of soften up a little bit, because when they're really dry, it's really hard to break them apart without kind of damaging them or cracking them. So I'm just gonna give them a little soak and hopefully that will help. And then I need to work out what kind of pot I'm gonna give it as well. See, I don't want to go up too much. Like I always say, I don't want to move up too many pot sizes at once, but at the same time, this is a pretty hefty lot of roots. And I also think I might replant some of the strands into the soil to kind of make it a bit fuller when it grows. So we will see, we will see. Okay. What shall I use? So the one that I've got is quite a lot bigger than what it's in at the moment, and for that reason I'm almost tempted not to break its, when I say break its roots apart, like detangle the roots too much. I'm almost tempted to just kind of pot it straight in, and I wouldn't usually do that. Like if you've seen any of my other kind of repotting videos, I usually really detangle it, but I'm so worried about disrupting it loads and making it really unhappy. So yeah, I think I'm probably just going to make a little hole in the soil, pop it in, wrap some strands, give it a water, and considering how much loose kind of rootage it's got at the bottom here as well, rootage, you know what I mean, I think it should be fine like that. It's just not worth the risk. I absolutely adore this plant and I don't want anything to happen to it, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. Right. It's an orchid pot. Look at those drainage holes, they're massive. I feel like all of this is just going to come straight out the bottom again. If I don't pour it all over the side first. Right. I also might not fill, oh, that perlite again. I might not fill the soil all the way up to kind of the rim. I might leave it a little bit so that it's kind of a bit of a shallower pot. I'll see how it goes. But yeah, God, these vines, they're so beautiful, but they do get in the way. How do you know when it's time to finish propagating and pot plants? Again, it depends on the type of plants. I mean, like if you're for example, if you've got cuttings, I would always say wait until the roots are at least, it depends on the scale of the plant. Like for example, if you've got a massive large form monstera, for example, and it's got a 3-inch root, then you probably want to wait till it gets to about kind of 6 to 8. But if you've got, for example, like a pothos cutting like that kind of size, I would say, yeah, 2 to 3 inches, like about kind of that. Just wait until it's got kind of a stable root system on it, and they're not just kind of extended nodes, if that makes any sense. I only say that because the amount of times in the past I've potted up cuttings too soon because I've just been like, oh, they're ready, let's get them going. And they have not been ready, and the plants got into shock, and I have lost plants like that before as well. Like I haven't been able to save them, and it's just so gutting because obviously it takes a while for plants to propagate anyway. It's not like an overnight process, and when you have to start all over again, and also you have to lose the cutting that you've propagated, it is just such a shame. So yeah, I would say on the whole, for something about this size, 3 to 4 inches, and just kind of, I guess, picture that leaf on a bigger scale and kind of expand the root length with it, if that makes sense. That's what I would do anyway. I know some people do, I mean, some people just pop things straight up in soil. Like, you can do that. I've got nothing against that. I just personally haven't always had a very good success rate doing it that way. Like, I will usually either propagate in water, propagate in perlites, propagation boxes. I've got about 4 propagation boxes, like the one I showed you, my Anthurium seed one, in sphagnum moss at the moment as well, or potting them up straight into like a potting medium such as sphagnum moss or leca or something like that, just because it helps keep that moisture around the roots that they really need to kind of root successfully. Oh, it's all gone up my sleeve. But yeah, that would be my advice on that. And also, yeah, like if you're, so I kind of do things a bit weirdly, and I don't know actually if it makes any massive difference, but it's just the way that I've always done things. Like when I'm propagating plants in water, for example, like I will change the water regularly, but I won't always change the whole, I won't always change the whole water. I'll do like half water changes. And the only reason I do that is because I've had goldfish all my life. And I remember they were like, when you're trying to get a new goldfish accustomed to the tank there, new water there, new environment, the best thing to do is to do half water changes instead of full water changes, so that they've still got a little bit of the old environment and all that good bacteria, and then another bit of that as well. So personally for me, whenever I'm propagating plants, if I can see they need a water change, I can take them out. If the pot needs a clean, like if it's got algae or something, keep half of that water, do a clean, put half back in, another half. That's just what I do. And then also when I do pot them up, I usually, if I've propagated in water, I'll keep that bit of water to one side and I'll use that as their first water. Like once I've potted them in, let's say soil, then I will water them with the water that they were propagated in. So again, they've still got that like little bit of that old environment and the new environment. Yeah, I don't know, like that could just be me being weird, but I've always done that, and on the whole I think tend to have had a pretty good propagation success rate. Not always, of course, I've had some failures as well, quite a few failures, but that is just what I tend to do nowadays, and touch all the wood, I haven't had anything not do what it's supposed to in a while. So yeah, that is what I do. And also when you come to pot stuff up, it like again depends on what it is that you're potting. But like for example with my pothos cutting, like here I just obviously went straight in, didn't even break up the roots. Usually what I would do, like I showed you my string of pearls one recently, like I made loads of different holes in the soil and I kind of potted them around each other and then wrapped it around to kind of create quite a kind of compact system, because you don't want to use something that's too big, and again the root system's going to get overwhelmed easily, because the new roots especially, like I don't really have anything here that I can use as an example. I've got some teeny weeny little roots that are nowhere near repotting yet. Oh, it won't let me get any out. It's all tangled. No, come out please. There we go. So for example, like that there, absolutely teeny, not ready to be potted up yet. But what you don't want to do when they've got a small root system is pot them in something too big that's going to overwhelm them, because it's so tempting. And again, I've done it in the past as well, like to get a plant and be like, oh my God, it's ready to be potted up, it's got really good roots, I'm going to put it in this pot that's say like that big, for example, for like 2-3 cuttings, and the amount of moisture that soil is going to hold, that it's just going to overwhelm the roots because they're so small and they can't absorb all of it. It's going to cause you issues like root rot and stuff like that. And yeah, again, as I said earlier, you're going to have to start all over again if that's the case. So I would not recommend doing it. So I would say that is my thought on propagation stuff. But yeah, that is just kind of, for me, what I think of as kind of like standard. I know, as I say, a lot of people do it differently, but that is my opinion on it. Right, okay, so, God, it feels weird in this pot. It's a lot bigger. I'm going to, just going to give it a wrap around. So basically what you can do with pothos plants, because they've got such kind of prominent nodes, you can essentially, if I can untangle one, you can essentially wrap them round and plant the nodes, those little bumps there, plant them straight back into the soil, and they'll grow down and they will essentially like form new growth and make the plant appear much fuller. And I think I'm going to do it with this one, just because although this plant is doing brilliantly, like I would quite like the growth to be a little bit more full. I really need some pins or something to pin it in. Like usually I use hair grips, but they're not here with me at the moment. I might do that later. For now, I might just give her a good water, let her settle and rest for a little bit. But yeah, God, that is a big difference. Hopefully she will be absolutely fine. I do hope so. Again, I will keep you updated on Instagram. I'll do some little updates and let you know how she's doing. And fingers crossed, it will all be fine. But yeah, I'm gonna also attempt to pour, because this is all distilled water that I've poured in, pour it back into here. Oh God, right, oh God. I've made a mess. I've made a right mess. It's gone all over my onesie. Right. What is the next question? You know why my calathea isn't growing and curling. So I made a video, actually one of my first videos ever on YouTube, about calathea care. And I mean, they are very well known as quite temperamental plants. They can be drama queens, to say the least. They really can. Why it's not growing, again, at this time of year, like it's winter, if you don't have it in conditions like, for example, with adequate light, with colder drops in temperature that it doesn't like, colder drafts, central heating, stuff like that, then it's not going to be very happy, because it's a tropical plant that, as I say, is quite delicate. And at this time of year particularly, it is going to be more prone to issues, because it's, like I said earlier about like the dormancy period, it's like that times 50 for a calathea, because a calathea is already a little bit like, blah. So I would say they enjoy kind of medium lighting conditions. Like I'd say a bright and direct light is ideal, but like medium, they can cope in lower light. No direct sun, make sure the temperature is kind of steady, maybe around kind of like 20-25 degrees. Lots of humidity. They absolutely love humidity, and that is so important as well at this time of year during the winter, when like we've got central heating on and so much humidity is kind of that is naturally in the air is drained, because the central heating dries the air out so much. So if you haven't got a humidifier, maybe consider investing a firework display's just started. Consider investing in a humidifier, pebble trays, stuff like that. Just kind of, up the humidity, make sure the environment is as stable as possible. In terms of the curling leaves, that can be cold, that can be lack of humidity. It can also be down to a watering imbalance quite commonly, and I found that myself with calatheas quite a few times, like inconsistent watering. And I know that can kind of be a weird one to kind of like get your head around, because because I always say, like, don't stick to a strict watering schedule. So that kind of like sounds a bit bizarre to say, but basically all I mean by that, and when I say inconsistent watering, is like, for example, water your plants exactly when they need it, and don't leave it too long, and don't water them too soon, because if you water them too soon, you can cause things like root rot and stuff like that. And then if you leave it a really long period of time, you can, especially with calatheas, because they kind of like an evenly moist soil, like not too soggy, but like evenly moist, that can kind of cause issues in itself. So yeah, that's what I mean by inconsistent watering, kind of going maybe 3 weeks and watering it, and then watering it the next day and stuff like that. That can definitely cause issues. But and I've also just folded the potting mat, and it's gone, can you see, all over me, dearie me. But yeah, what I was going to say as well is, if you're still having issues, I do have a video that I made on it, and if not, feel free to ping me a message on Instagram, and I will happily try and help if I possibly can. But yeah, I literally, with anything that I say, it's literally just from my own experience. I'm not a botanist. I'm not like a houseplant expert. It's literally just from me having had lots of plant failures and trying to come back from them that I give any advice. But yes. Right, so what was I going to do? I wanted to, my little jade plants, I've showed you my bigger jade plant downstairs, but this one, it's not doing badly at all. It's been turned in that direction while I've been away for the last week, and you can see it's growing to the light, but it's not doing badly, but it's just so small, and I really want to encourage it to kind of branch a bit more. Like here you can see that one stem has kind of turned into two, and it's making it appear a bit bushier, and the same with that one there. And the best way to do that really is either by pinching off the new growth or by chopping it. So I think I'm going to take a few cuttings to propagate, and hopefully that will kind of encourage it to be a little bit fuller, a little bit happier. Actually doesn't need a water, that's all right. But yeah, so I'm just going to take my scissors, which actually I'm going to just give a spray down. God, you should see the state of my chair right now. I thought it was just on me. Look at that. But no, it is everywhere. It is everywhere. soil and water, and it's forming a lovely muddy puddle underneath me. Good, good. Yeah, this is just hydrogen peroxide, just giving the scissors a little clean. And then, yeah, not sure how far down to cut. I think with this one, what do you reckon? I'm trying to see on camera. You can kind of get a better idea on camera of how much you need to chop. I mean, the growth is not like sparse and leggy, like it's actually quite condensed. It's doing well, but I just kind of wanted to do better. So yeah, I think I'm gonna chop this little section here. There we go. So that's the first cutting. And what I'll probably do, these 2 leaves here, in fact, I'll do it now. I'm just gonna take off these bottom 2 leaves and I can propagate them differently. I'm probably just gonna lie them on top of the soil and spray them, and then they'll start to root. And then this little one, I'm just gonna plant straight into soil. In fact, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll just plant it straight back into the soil here. I'm gonna do that. And then it will make it appear bushier anyway. And I'm gonna take maybe one more. Right, question as well. What's a fun fact about you? I was gonna say, someone tagged me on a thing on Instagram like a couple of weeks ago about fun facts. I'm trying to think about what I said because I thought really hard about that and now they've all gone and I can't remember what any of them were. I know one. I used to have 605 giant African land snails. It sounds like a complete lie, but I'll tell you the story. So basically there was a girl that lived up the road from me who used to babysit me sometimes, and she had a giant African land snail as a pet, and it was probably about that big, and it had a big kind of spiral shell, and I was absolutely obsessed with it. I mean, I've always been like crazy animal lover anyway, but I was obsessed with this giant African land snail, and I begged my mum for years to let me get one. And oh, right, I've just accidentally pulled off 2. Cool, I'll propagate that separately. And eventually she let me get 2 of them. They were called Bonzo and Sambo, and they were very lovely snails. But I was in charge of like cleaning their tank and like doing everything. And I remember one day I discovered eggs in there and I didn't tell anyone, didn't tell my mum. I was like, oh, I'll just bury them again and they'll be fine. And anyway, they all hatched and had lots of babies, and we had an absolute panic being like, if all of them grow to that size, it's going to be bad. So we were calling around like zoos and pet shops and all this sort of stuff, and we found one zoo that ironically was literally, oh my God, how far away was it? We ended up like going on like a camping trip to that area so that we could go to the zoo. It was like 4 hours away, like this tropical zoo, but they were like, we need to know exactly how many we're taking. And even if they're just babies, we need to know the exact number. So me and my mum sat outside the front door one evening and counted every single one of them. And in total, we had 605. So yeah, that's my fun story. Also, another fun bit to that story. This isn't very fun, I'm sorry, but funny, maybe. The zoo wouldn't take them. We took them all the way to, I think it was Somerset or somewhere like that. Took them all the way there. Zoo wouldn't take them. We had to bring them all back again. So yeah, that was fun. We eventually got rid of most of them and gave them, I hope, really good homes. I was just, God, I mean, I just wanted to make sure they went to good homes. But yeah, I would say that's probably, I don't know if that's a fun fact. It's definitely one of the weirdest facts. Oh, just knocked off another leaf so we can propagate that one. So yeah, I would say that is that is the answer to that question. Any of you, let me know some weird / fun facts about you, because I'm always so intrigued to know. Like, that is one of my favorite questions. I just always feel like my responses are a little bit, people ask for something fun and then they hear my answers and they're like, oh, okay, that's a bit odd. So yeah, do let me know in the comments below any fun, weird things, especially if it can top the snail story. I will be so happy to hear. Right, what is the next one? This person sent 2 separate ones. My Florida green has gone a bit quiet. The long stem that produces a new leaf has the outer bits shedding, not new leaf, no new leaf has come through yet. Is it normal? Is the plant, if the plant looks perfectly healthy? Sorry, that was very bad reading from me. Is it normal if the plant looks healthy? I would say, again, like I've said with the other ones, at this time of year, I don't know what kind of circumstances you've got the plant in, but yeah, I would say it probably is normal if the rest of the plant looks healthy. And it's like growth slows at this time of year, and that's one thing that, like, especially if you get a new plant over the spring and summer months, you're used to it growing at a certain rate, and then all of a sudden it stops during the winter months. You're like, oh god, what am I doing wrong? I would say that's perfectly normal. I honestly wouldn't worry about it too much at all. If it gets to spring and summer and like it's got really amazing light and like all the other conditions are really great and it starts doing weird things and doesn't grow at all, then maybe I would start to kind of reevaluate. But like you said, if the plant looks healthy and there's no other issues, I honestly wouldn't worry. If you want to kind of speed up that growth, but I would just say, again, try to mimic its natural environment as much. I don't also know why I'm putting all of the leaf cuttings in one pot. I'm getting a bit carried away. Right, that's what I've done, and that's what I'm going to leave it as, and these ones here I'm going to put up separately. But yeah, if it's all looking fine and healthy, then I wouldn't really say you have anything to worry about. Like I say, like I've got plants that have had growth slow at this time of year, and it's really normal because the temperature's lower, the humidity's lower, the light is a lot less, and not only is the light a lot less in terms of hours, it's just less strong because of the time of year. So I honestly wouldn't stress, personally. That is what I would say. Yes, right. Next question. Oh, some of your goals for 2022. Right. What am I doing first? Because I don't like these questions. Not these questions in general. I don't like the questions about like, what are your New Year's resolutions? What are your goals? Just because, like, for me, my goals change all the time, like all the time. I tend to kind of set myself daily or weekly goals or monthly goals or kind of things that are, I don't really do yearly. I don't know. I think I'm probably ridiculously overthinking this because I'm tired, but I'm losing my mind. I don't tend to go into the year with lots of resolutions. For me personally, I know that really helps some people, and I really admire people actually that can do that. I just know for me, if I don't stick to them, I'll spend the time like beating myself up, being like, you didn't stick to your New Year's resolution. But whereas if I go, right, okay, this week, this is what I want to achieve by the end of this month, that's what I want to achieve, then I will find them a lot easier to meet because I'm like, cool, it's kind of a shorter space of time. So anyway, now that like very pointless rant is over and you know that about me, I would say my goals currently are, I mean, like, and as sad as it sounds, to like, I'm really wanting to focus on YouTube. Like, I am loving planty YouTube more than anything in the world. Even if you can't tell from this video because I'm half asleep and I'm in my pajamas, I'm absolutely loving it. And I love creating content on plants. I love connecting with lovely people in the community. And I'm like, I would just absolutely love to kind of go, like, take that further this year. That is something that I would really, really, really love to do, and I'm continuing to try and do. I think, without sounding very cliche, to just continue to try and oh god, it sounds so I always try not to swear on my channel. I try to keep it very PG. Sounds a bit pooey. I'd like just to stay true to myself and not to allow other influences to affect me and how I am too much. I think that is important, especially since, like, and I know it sounds probably really stupid, but like, especially since doing things like YouTube and stuff like that and putting myself out there for like criticism and judgment and stuff like that. And although I'm like a teeny tiny little plant channel, like there have been some people that have like come back with like horrible comments from time to time and things that I think are just really unnecessary. And I'm not saying everyone's not entitled to their own opinions, they absolutely are. But you know, when some things are just a little bit unnecessary sometimes, and it's like, what was your point? What was your point? So I think, yeah, for me, in life and within this weird online world, trying to just stay true to who I am and doing things that make me happy and finding ways to turn, I mean, this just goes for every avenue of like any job finger pie I've got in, just making sure that what I'm doing I am passionate about, it brings me joy, and it makes me want to work to the point that work doesn't have to always feel like work, because obviously work is always going to sometimes feel like work, I get that, but also I've done so many jobs that I absolutely despise and things that I'm like, you know what, I'm so done past this now. I would like to be doing stuff this year, resolution right here, I would like to be doing stuff this year that I feel like sparks my creative passion, creative sides, gets my creative juices flowing. How many times can I say creative in one sentence? And just, yeah, makes me happy, fulfills me, gives me something that I'm not getting from other avenues, because I do think, although work, it's a job, can also fulfill areas of your life that aren't necessarily being fulfilled otherwise. Yeah, that is my roundabout answer to that. I'm just giving these little things of water. The other thing, I think probably the last thing I'm going to do, because it's quite late now and I'm actually really quite sleepy, I might just I'm just going to get some clean water and just give my white princess a little wipe down. What have I just, uh-oh, a tragedy has just occurred. Oh, it's a tragedy. Oh God, am I right numpty? Shouldn't have had so much stuff on the table. Oh, I want to cry. I won't. But look, I just snapped off that beautiful leaf with no nodes from my white princess philodendron. However, a positive spin on this situation. I mean, I'm gutted, but a positive spin on the situation. I'm going to show you what I decided to do with my alocasia leaf the other week. Bear with. So one of my alocasia leaves just kind of naturally dropped the other week, and I decided to press it, and it's actually, I mean, it looks like a piece of parchment. It's come out really, really, really beautifully. I was thinking about either framing it or like casting it in resin or something like that. I mean, it just looks gorgeous. And I definitely want to start doing that with more leaves, because it's such a shame when they've been so beautiful and you just have to throw them in the bin. But that was totally my own fault. I'm an idiot. But hey, these things happen. Plant failure 2022, that was one of my favourite leaves. Right, carefully, Claire. So my white princess has got absolutely huge, I don't know if you can probably tell, she's got massive, and that lovely leaf was there. I'll get over it. I feel, yeah, I feel like if you know, you know, it's just not a nice feeling, but I'm going to press it. I'm going to put it with that one, and I'm going to make it into a lovely little something. So that's the bonus. I'll have a lovely piece of art on my wall at some point, I hope. Right, so yes, while I just go through the last few ones of this, the last thing I was going to do is just give all the leaves a little wipe down, because this is one that was next to a plant that had spider mites just before I went away, and I have given her a check over and I can't see anything, but I just want to kind of give her a proper little clean. So I think it's like when you accidentally snap off a plant leaf, I'm always just like, I'm so sorry. I feel so awful. It's not just because I'm sad that the leaf's gone. It's like I have watched you grow and live, and I just feel so awful about it. So yeah, I feel really bad. I'm sure I'll get over it. Anyway, what's your fastest growing plant? Pothos is definitely one of them, the really root bound one that I repotted that I'm also now trying not to tread on. My Philodendron ernestii, which is currently temporarily just placed in here that I've showed you in other videos before, that one is super fast growing. I would say probably philodendrons and pothos plants and scindapsus, like they have been for me probably the fastest growing. Actually, there's another one as well. My Rhaphidophora tetrasperma, that one is literally doing so well. I got it as teeny tiny cutting, and I would say on average it probably gives me, and this is at the moment in winter, and this one isn't under grow lights either, I would say it probably gives me a new leaf every 1 to 2 weeks, and it's just, yeah, the most fast growing amazing plant ever. So that is a great one if you're looking for a fast growing one. But otherwise, yeah, as I say, philodendron, pothos, Rhaphidophora tetrasperma is great. That is for me my fastest growing. Again, like, also guys, any questions that I'm answering that you like, if you have a faster growing plant or like any, just let me know, because the one thing I really would love is if YouTube could kind of, I guess it'd be more like a chat room, like Zoom or something like that. I really wish it could kind of open it up so that like everyone could get involved, so that like if I had people, subscribers, whoever watching, then we could all kind of chat and stuff. Because sometimes I'm like, I feel like this is why I get waffly, but yeah. Those would be my current ones that I think are the fastest growing. Actually, you know what? Yeah, my white princess, my pink princess also, they're pretty fast growing, and I'm glad, seeing as this one's just lost a little baby. But yeah, they're pretty fast growing too. But they're philodendrons, like I said. Right, next question. Do you have any types of plant you hate? Do I have any types of plant that I hate? I don't have any that I hate, I don't think. There's a few that I can't get my head around. The first one, the first one that I can't work out whether I love or hate is those living stone succulents, the ones that like just literally look like stones. They were on David Attenborough's Life with Plants thing recently, and I think they're amazing. And I've seen them a few times recently, and I've been like, do I get one? But I don't know. I kind of find them a bit like gross and weird, and that's probably just me, and I don't know why that is. I just don't really get them yet, and maybe I will. But yeah, right now, not a massive fan. This is really controversial, and I also know that I featured them in one of my videos before. I'm really not a fan of orchids. Like, I think they're quite pretty, and I can almost kind of appreciate them in someone else's house, but I don't, like, I would never go out and buy myself an orchid personally. Well, I said that, obviously, like, jewel orchid, totally different kettle of fish, but just conventional orchids I'm not a massive fan of. I really don't know why that is, because I do think they're really beautiful plants, and I think the flowers are gorgeous. They're just something that doesn't particularly appeal to me personally. Kalanchoes as well. I mean, I guess kind of just, I was going to say flowering plants, but that's so not the case. Yeah, kalanchoes, like, I again do like and can appreciate. Like, my mum's got a lovely one, and it looks gorgeous in her kitchen, but I would never choose one for my kitchen. But I guess it's just personal preference, isn't it? There's no plants I don't think that I hate. There's just some that I would not choose to have. And also I know, like, a lot of people do, like, oh, I've really gone off this plant, I want to give this plant away. But it's very, very rare when I've chosen a plant for me to go off it. Like, I guess it has happened from time to time, but on the whole, most of the plants that I have, even if I kind of go off them a bit, I'll kind of fall back in love with them because I've loved them all at some point, if that makes sense still. So yeah, I wouldn't say I've got like plants that I hate, just ones that I like more than others. And yeah, those living stones I just personally don't get, but maybe I just need to get a living stone and then I'll understand it. Who knows? I think we're... Oh my god, there's more coming in. I have thousands of fungus gnats and can't make them go. Suggestions. Really quick, this is something that I covered in a video literally, I don't know when I'm going to be putting this video up, but I'm going to say within the last like 4 or 5 days, I rehabbed my friend's plants that was in a really bad way, and one of the worst like problems that it had out of quite a few was fungus gnats. Hydrogen peroxide is the quick answer. Like there's loads of other kind of DIY methods you can use. I used to use like cinnamon on the soil and stuff like that, bug killer, all that sort of stuff, sticky traps, which can do the job, like if the infestation isn't big, like, but I would personally, like from experience, say hydrogen peroxide is the most effective method. So yeah, I will, well, the video is going to be the one before this one, so if you want to see it, just click back one video and you'll find it. But yes, oh, I thought it said, how is Yoli? How old is Yoli? Yoli, she is 3. She's 3 years old, or thereabouts. I didn't get her as a pup. She was already about 2 when I got her. So she must be 3.5, almost 4 now, actually. I didn't get her as a young dog. She was one that, bless her, both her little sisters had been adopted about a year, 2 years beforehand, and she had just been left in the shelter with no one coming for her. So yeah, she was an older dog, but she's doing really well. She's doing very well. She is currently snuggled on the sofa after a very long W today and is very good. But yeah, and she, I guess, has been in the UK now for, because she was a Greek rescue, been in the UK for a 1.5 years. So yeah, she's a little terror at times, but on the whole, she is doing very, very well. Right, I think I'm just going to do one more question because I'm really sleepy and there's quite a few. Oh, which one should I do? Okay, this one I can answer very quickly, so I'll do 2 more. Someone said, how big is your biggest plant? My biggest plant is this one behind me, my variegated monstera. I will literally dip the camera up and you can see it's, I mean, hang on, if I put it up and I stand next to it. I mean, yeah, it's big. It's very big. That is my biggest plant, I would say. That is that question answered. Right, last question. If you had to say one, what's your favourite plant right now? I don't know. I hate these questions because I'm like, I have so many. I would say maybe, just because it's right here in front of me, and it is definitely up there, my Anthurium veitchii. It's an veitchii narrow form. I absolutely adore. It was a wishlist plant for such a long time, and in the time that I've had it, which has only been, I think, about 2-3 months, it's already given me that leaf, and now this one is a new leaf too. But yeah, that is a dream plant. I absolutely love it. So I would say that one right now. Yeah, in terms of like rare plants, that's definitely my favorite at the moment. But I've got a lot. And as I say, they like constantly change all the time, but that one I adore. But yes, I think I'm going to finish this video here just because I've got a lot of cleaning up to do now, and I've also got to go and change and put dry clothes on because I have soiled myself. But I really hope that this video was enjoyable to watch, and I'm sorry if it was a little bit frantic, chaotic, waffly, crazy. But I'm glad that I got the camera rolling for it because I've got through some things that I've been wanting to do for ages. But yes, if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.